Selecting and installing an operating system will now be discussed in more detail. Why is it important to have the proper operating system? This is because different operating systems are compatible with different types of applications, and also depending on the operating system, you can have greater control over the speed, the security, and the overall control of your system and the computer software that you are using. Changing your operating system. Pre-installed operating systems can be replaced or upgraded as need be on your computer. Also, you can do something called dual booting, which is when you install more than one operating system on your computer at a time. And how this works is when you start up your computer, you have to choose which operating system you would like to boot your computer up with. And so you can either choose whether to run your computer on a Mac OS at the time or on a Windows operating system like Windows 7. How to choose your operating system. One thing that you have to make sure is hardware compatibility. And to do this, it's easy. You just have to ensure that you have all the device drivers available for all your hardware software products that you would want to be using with the operating system. For example, you want to make sure you have your printer, device driver, and like your keyboard and mouse, so that when you use the new operating system, you can still communicate with your hardware. It's also important to have software compatibility, and this is like the application software. You have to make sure that it'll run. So like if you want any software like Microsoft Office, you have to make sure that the software is compatible with the operating system that you are currently using. And another thing that you have to make sure you have is you have to have the minimum hardware requirements. This means you have to have like the minimum hard disk space or RAM and processing speed available for the operating system to work efficiently, because otherwise the computer will run very slowly and have glitches. You also must obtain the proper license to run the operating system. There are free source operating systems out there, but if you install a operating system like Windows 7, you have to make sure that you have permission or the license from Microsoft before you can use that. And the next important thing to do is you have to make sure that you back up all your existing data before you change the operating system, because when you change the operating system, there's a possibility that all of your data will be lost that you have. And it's always important to have a backup anyway, but it's very important that before you change your operating system, you back up all your files, because there's no guarantee that they will be there when you are done changing your OS. And then another thing you must do is you must partition and format the hard disk. And this is to ensure that the OS gets installed in the proper area of your hard disk. And then once you've done this, you need to run the installation program and configure the operating system. And normally to configure it, you need to create a user account, change the language to whatever language is your natural language, and change the time zone and the keyboard layout. And the next thing you have to do is you have to activate or register the operating system, because even though you have the license to be using the operating system, you still have to register your computer with the company, and this enables all the features of the operating system to be accessed. And then you have to further update the operating system, and this is because each operating system company is always coming out with new upgrades that can be done to their operating system to enhance security, performance, and just general user friendliness. And so it's always important to have the most recent update of the OS that you have installed. And then you also need to install required application software. So this is like software in addition to your operating system, like all the programs that you want the computer to now be running. And then you also need to finally restore any data that you had backed up before you started changing your operating system. And this is so that now when you go to use your computer, you will have all your data available that you wish to have. And here is my bibliography. I use the Information Technology in a Global Society for the IB Diploma by Stuart Gray textbook.